Progress. Okay.
Where would you like?
Wherever you.
Okay, sure. Block here, sorry. Here, yes. Okay, yes. Good evening, everybody. As Sue said, my name is Nick Walsh. I'm VP of Development for Dimension Energy, and here to talk to you this evening about our application and request for a pilot for two community solar projects located in Geneva. Label here is Geneva CSG 1 and 2. CSG stands for Community Solar Park. Next slide, please. So first, just a little bit about my company and who we'll be dealing with. This counterparty, Dimension Energy, was founded 5 years ago. 2 years ago, we were majority share was purchased by Partners Group, which is a large private equity firm. So we're a very well capitalized company. We've developed a number of projects here in New York as well as nationally. We are a developer, owner operator, so we plan to build and own and operate these assets. It's not a type of thing where ownership is going to flip on construction. So we've done a lot of work in New York. I think we have some of that information on the next slide, but nationally, we've got about 2 gigawatts in pipeline and over 400 projects in flight. So, we focus primarily on community solar. We're not a solar developer that branches out and does a lot of different things. We are a community solar developer. So we take that very seriously, and we're very involved in the communities that we're putting our projects in. And again, tonight we're talking about 2 projects that would go into the New York Community Solar Program. Any questions about Dimension? Okay. Next slide. As I said, we've been doing work in New York really since our inception. We've currently got 6 community solar projects operational. We've got 4 others that are under construction at the moment, and 7 other projects which are fully permitted going through pre-construction planning. So we're very committed to the state of New York and the solar program that's available here. A little bit of project specifics, and I have slides on both projects, but they're essentially the same. As I mentioned, they're in Geneva off of Preemption Road, which would be the road to the east of the projects here. They are on 2 separate parcels, but they are right next to each other, north and south of each other. The limit of disturbance on this project, which is CSG 1, the northern of the 2, is just under 27 acres within our fence line. We've been working with the folks in Geneva for the last several months. Started out talking to their code enforcement officer and engineer, have gone through several rounds of meetings with the planning board, including our public hearing, and all of that culminated in a vote to conditionally approve these projects just a week ago on the 20th. So our seeker neg deck approved conditional approval, and one of the elements of our conversation over these last several months is that we engage with your agency to set up a pilot for these projects, so that would be their preference. The county did review these projects prior to our first planning board meeting, which is unusual, but it was a nice surprise. So the county has given guidance that they're accepting this project.
The county planning board.
Yeah. And this just shows the array to the south. Second project, same size, with all they kind of went through the planning board review process together. We're in good shape with Geneva. Just wanted to present our projects here to you this evening and see what our best path forward is in engaging in pilot.
Any questions? Nick?
I have a couple. What was there before?
It is currently an orchard, so the owner runs, Red Jacket, I knew it was red, I couldn't think of it. Red Jacket Orchard. And where we are putting our arrays is an older part of the orchard that, they're not really utilizing anymore because the trees are aged out. So they will continue in some of the other areas on the property, to use it for their orchard crop, but those are younger, more viable trees.
And the first thing I noticed is the blue and green dot. What is that?
That is a delineated wetland. So we did have our biologists go out and survey the property and they flagged as wetlands. The town code in Geneva requires that you stay 100 feet off of the wetland boundary. So we've done that in our plan.
And have you only discussed the wetlands with the town of Geneva? Or have you discussed it with any other government agricultural agencies?
We have our applications in to just get a letter of no effect on these permits. I don't know if we've discussed it, but we will be going through ag and markets on these projects and utilizing their restrictions as well. Do that.
Very partial to the wetlands, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we're definitely avoiding the wetland. That's the only one on the site. Yeah, that's the only one on the site. We are obviously avoiding it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for that?
Did you say this is a solar garden?
Yeah, that's what
What are you trying to convey with that name?
I didn't make it up, but I think it is a conveyance of just, maybe harvesting of the sun for energy. It's a fair question, but it's kind of common terminology, I guess, within the community solar.
Most solar outfits are harvesting the sun.
Yeah.
This might be way out of your area of expertise, but what is the cost per kilowatt hour for harvesting compared to the traditional?
Well, obviously, the upfront cost is significant. These projects, I think in our application, we have the build cost outlined in there, somewhere in the range of $500,000 to build each one. But then once they're built, the O&M costs are not that much. So over time, the cost is much less. I don't know off the top of my head what that comes out to be over 25-year lifespan. What it does allow us to do is put that solar back into the community, and folks that do sign up to buy power from this to get discount. Usually it's in the range of 10. I think these projects are about 10% discount off of this area.
Do you require any build out of power lines in order to?
So we always, one of the first things we do, and I do have it on here, that we did go through National Grid and got our Caesar, Caesar studies done. So yes, the utilities always study these projects. That's one of the first things we did with the company to make sure that we're not, whatever we're doing, it's not overburdening the system. And those studies often reveal that, yes, you can connect to our circuit, and we're actually connecting to a substation that's just catty corner across Preemption Road. Doesn't show on these maps. But any infrastructure upgrades that are necessary, the utility lets you know in those studies, and then you can decide, yes, that fits in our financial model, or no, that's way too expensive. This project doesn't work. In this case, it doesn't work. So we will have to make some minor upgrades, but nothing.
Bonded?
We will be putting in place decommissioning. Yeah.
How much job?
I'd have to, a ballpark for you. I don't want to, be held to the number, because we got to talk to our EPC about that. But typically on a site like this, you're talking about, well, it depends on the top of the stage of construction, but I would say somewhere in the range of 30 to 50 employees per project while they're being built. While it's being built.
Yeah, that's just for construction.
Yeah, afterwards, it's pretty minimal because these are relatively passive plants. So there will be, they'll be monitored remotely 24/7, and then maintenance come out generally quarterly to check on the plant. And then obviously ask if there was an emergency or something, or power outage, so yeah.
So do you have conditional approval or what conditions were placed?
I haven't, I'm supposed to get the letter tomorrow, that's what the CEO told me. Relatively minor conditions. I know one of them was we talked to the IDA about putting a pilot in place as their preference. I think the only other major condition, well, decom bonds and decom agreement are part of it. And then we also made a promise that we'd come in from the north and just do right-hand turns at the site during construction, so that we're not holding up traffic on the road. During construction, obviously there are trucks coming and going for a couple months, but after that, again, it's pretty passive site, so it's not going to be any traffic impacts.
I also have questions. Have a motion to authorize public hearing.
Actually, it's authorized 2 public hearings.
Authorize 2 public hearings for 1 and 2.
Each site, because there's two sites.
I'll move it. Motion from Andy. Seconded by Deb. Any further discussion? All those in favor of holding a public hearing, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On to home leasing.
And we have a few people from home leasing here. You might remember Brett Garwood, who came before and told us about shelter rents. And then Megan, yeah, Cooper, and Aaron Graham.
So I don't know how much you want me to talk, so I'm just going to talk briefly about the project.
Yeah.
You
You've been in a lot of meetings with us. You've never been.
So anyway, I'm Brett Garwood, CEO of Home Leasing, and you can just take the talk. And I'm my colleague Megan here have been working hard on this project. Home Leasing is a for-profit company. We're a family-owned company, mission-oriented. We're certified B Corp. We specialize in the development of a variety of types of affordable housing, and that's what brought us to this project, because you previously approved its previous iteration. We last spoke, it ran into troubles during these strange times of the last 3 years, and we were brought in to step in to see if the project could be completed, and that's what we're proposing. I think largely the project remains the same physically, not largely, almost entirely the project remains the same physically. It's still going to be a net zero 78 unit community, and I think what we're proposing to do changes it, for my thinking, changes it to provide an additional resource to the community, because we are going to make it affordable. In the affordable housing industry, I think this is special and frankly unique, because we're really going to hit on the workforce affordability range. People who are earning 60, 70, 80% of the area income, whereas most affordable housing meets people's needs at 50 or 60%. Therefore, these communities are going to serve people with a bit higher of an income range that I think is right in line with the workforce that's hard to attract, or frankly, the workforce that's finding it really difficult to find housing in these communities. So that's the big change from the previous. Our request is mortgage and sales tax exemption, but also a pilot, which I think is new to you, very much mirrors what we typically do in Monroe County, basically providing 10% shelter rent pilot, where 10% of our revenue plus utilities would go as a payment in taxes. So we want to ramble on and on. or answer any questions.
And this project was called Solar Village, and it was with the walls. Up at the top. And it's located on Carter Road.
If you have any questions. Sort of bouncing on there.
So the solar village, that concept just met with economic issues, and so it's morphing into the home leasing. Is that what they're?
Yeah, they experienced really dramatic cost increases.
Sure.
And basically, they got over their head after that and couldn't complete the project. So I think the combination of us, we negotiated in good faith and well with them so that they can exit as gently, I think, as you can, giving them, the ability to do the best thing in their lives and their company. Yeah.
And the focus on the solar and the zero utility cost, that's gone now.
No, that's all
all
remains the
still
same.
there.
The design and the, obviously there's some tweaks to the design. It's not going to be, it's no longer to be, not manufactured. Modular, that is something that's not.
It wasn't modular, just to be clear. There's there's 78 units, but 3 buildings. The first building is about 60% complete. It originally was supposed to be modular construction, which it never was because of cost. It was panelized construction. And we plan to continue with the same construction methodologies, but it does have a Buildings of Excellence Award from NYSERDA because of the extreme energy efficiency, and we are working with NYSERDA in the walls to actually assume that award because we'll continue to maintain that high level of energy efficiency. So all of, I would say the true nature of the project is the same.
That
Yeah.
net zero on-site solar, providing all the needs of electricity, all electric design still remains. Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Motion for a public hearing. Seconded by Andy. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, carries. Then we jump right into the meeting. Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
bye.
See you again.
Motion. Yeah, second by that. Any discussion on that? All those in favor of their acceptance? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. Invoices for payments.
On vacation.
We have them all in front of us. Mike's on vacation.
I'm sure if we called him, he would answer, but I really wish if we didn't.
So, take a motion to accept those.
It's just the McCardle Johnson one where they're showing a 90% reimbursement. Is that money coming back to us?
That's for the ongoing generator project. So part of the installation, they do the administrative
Okay, thanks.
session. So yes, it's a grant.
Pay the bills. Second by Deb. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? Carried. We all received Bob's airport update. If you have no questions on that, motion on that. Motion from Deb. Second by Andy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I'm aye. carried. Terminal bid, we spoke at length about that last thing, decided we wanted to put McFarland and Johnson to start looking towards trying to get an extension, so I would say that we take a motion to reject that bid.
This was over.
Over budget. It's over budget.
It's a second. Wow. We asked them for much. I mean, it's all a question of.
I didn't put the bid together.
Reject. Second like that. Any other discussion? All those in favor of rejection? Aye. Opposed? Carried. And the access road bid, we all said this thing looked pretty good last month, so take a motion to accept that.
What the access?
The access road bid.
So that's just an existing road that we done.
I'll move it.
Motion to accept the go for the access road. Seconded. Any more discussion on that? All those in favor of acceptance? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, carried. And then quote for proposal. Proceed with the appraisal.
So like we've discussed throughout the last few months, looking to further develop and also purchase things at the airport property. This allows for the appraisal, so we don't work the charter. What land on this is land.
So the motion to proceed with the appraisal from Andy. Second by Deb. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? I'm an aye also. Hearing none, carried. Financial statements. Did they say them? Is that Mike? We have vacation plan.
We provided an explanation for the one that that made it better.
Do I have a motion to accept the financial statement? Dan? I'll second. Seconded by Andy. All those in favor? Sure in minutes. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, hearing none, carried. Investment report. Stuff on board. All of them provided it. Anybody has any questions? There's a motion to accept the financial report. I'm just trying to find. Right there, it's tab 5. Got it.
I'll second.
Seconded by Dan. I'll wait to see if Andy has any questions. All those in favor?
Pretty sure.
I'm sure. All those opposed, hearing none, carried. And on to the department update.
A few things, actually. I'll start off with, I made a presentation to the Planning and Environmental Quality Committee, Board of Supervisors. This would have been on the 12th of June. As we've discussed a couple different times, this was on the economic impact study for the airport. I was able to get Michael and both the administrator and deputy administrator sit down and talk about strategy, because obviously we know that the presentation of the study wasn't the whole story. Wanted to start the conversation with board supervisors about possible financial help for the airport. It was well received, although it may have been lost a little bit on them too. But again, it was a conversation starter. It was received well enough for half of the committee to agree to come out to the airport today, had we had the tour. So we will have that tour, and we will once again invite them to hopefully bring them along. This wasn't going to happen overnight. I've also engaged with the Finger Lakes Visitors Connection and the County Planning Department. So we're all trying to to put our heads together as far as what a strategy would look like, to make a formal request to the board of supervisors. That's not gonna happen. It's gonna be an ongoing discussion. And I'll keep you up to date, but I wanted to let you know that the first presentation was made and I wasn't asked to leave. So things are good.
I can have,
Absolutely.
but you want to bring to the board of supervisors, is it request for funding help or is it request to literally take it?
I think this board was looking for funding help. And during my conversations for strategy to make that presentation, it was suggested that that would probably be as far as anybody.
If I were in charge of cash, I would think. But that's just,
So,
but I think the people around, in fact, I'm going to do that right have time. In all of these airports in the state that are, let's call it similar size to us, like perhaps Ithaca or now Batavia, whatever. What's that?
so it's the count in preparation for that meeting. We did a couple things. You'll see in your packet, there's some charts that we provided. It basically shows the IDA's willingness and the responsibility that we had over time to fund the airport and what we had to do to keep it going. It also shows the expenses and the income over the history of the airport. One thing that Bob also provided was the increase in traffic since the expansion of the market. So that those are some important pieces of data for the board of supervisors to consider. Because the board of supervisors has always wanted us to take on this responsibility and double down on us taking that responsibility. The one thing that hasn't happened is a little bit of help to take on that responsibility. But also in preparation for that meeting, Michael and I looked at the three closest to us, which would be Ithaca Tompkins, which is County O. And best we can see from the public facing budget documents for this coming year for Ithaca Tompkins, the county is going to have to transfer over about $1.8 million to continue to have that airport be sold. Penn Yan is a little bit of a mixed bag. The best I can tell is it looks like it holds their own. They have some building assets out there that they're able to rent out.
Is that how you operate?
Yep. The one thing that they have that we do not have is a main hangar by Cycle Foods. It's a 60-year relationship with Cycle Foods, so that does help things. And then the other one is Genesee County, and according to their website, they will make a little bit of money this fiscal year. They'd be able to use that for other county programs. But again, you have to know their budget codes to figure out how that works. But Michael Wojcik is a tad of a budget nerd, so he understands a little bit about what we're looking at. So again, it's a mixed bag. One massive debt, one seems to be okay, the other one's a little bit of a mixed bag. Jessica, am I right in that characterization of Michael Wojcik?
He loves his numbers.
So we did a little bit of due diligence to prepare for that meeting, and there'll be more. But right now, what we're trying to introduce, we don't want to scare them out of the room, so we're looking for a little bit of. So far, so good, but this is going to be an ongoing process. This is what we wanted me to start, so here we are starting. Next one, the County Arbor Grant Program. This is the American Rescue Plan. So we got a little bit of funding opportunity to work with the county government. The first batch of money that will be out for businesses and municipalities to apply for are, and I don't think there's going to be anything in here because none of it's ready to publish yet. The first application hit the street will be for arts, culture, and recreation. That has to be tied to COVID. And that program will be followed pretty closely with what I believe the next best workforce development. So the arts, culture, and recreation application should hit the streets after July 4th. We're excited to see that for a lot of reasons. One, to get it started, and two, that's the reason why we're starting. That was absolutely no idea of what interest is. We've heard of everything from, a couple different to big sky's the limit. And our surrounding counties that have done similar programs tell us the exact same thing. So more to come on that. County housing, we're starting to move to the recommendation phase of that plan with a possible public rollout sometime end of August, early September. They're starting to crunch the data for the projections moving forward on our demographics and residency, and then how we can shape our recommendations to fill the need moving forward, not just what is on the ground today. Workforce development. So I went to a FLCC county ad hoc committee meeting. This was 2 weeks ago, maybe 3. And out of that meeting, the college and the county want a better collaboration for workforce development. The college has really good programs that they can stand up with very little effort that'll fill the needs of both our hourly employees and our businesses, but they don't have the relationship with the businesses. So we're going to do what we're calling a reverse job fair, where we're going to utilize our connection through Jim Armstrong to reach out to some of these businesses and find out what we can do to fill their need, bring them in, have the college do a pitch on, these are the programs that we can help set up. If you let us into your building, we can do it there. It maybe it fills just the need for one employer, but it might also be, everybody go in and have the class at Joe's Truck and Tow, but everybody in the truck and tow sector comes there with their employees and learns whatever skill that they need to continue to retain and recruit employees. So that's something of a new wrinkle. Speaking of workforce development, in your packet, we received an email earlier this month from Bain. Remember that we helped fund that program, and they will be sunsetting it for a lot of different reasons. The email goes into a little bit of a painful decision to make. Both Rick Clinton and Lynn Freed, I know, don't you've been introduced to both of them. Very passionate about the program, but it's just something that I think COVID really hurt that program, and it was unable to recover. Mike, you might have more to that. But that was something that we were involved with for a long time. And those monies will go, I believe, on to FLCC in the form of student scholarships, but it's outlined in the email based on what their governing documents were. And last but not least, this past week, Empire State Development came down to the county. Something that we were trying to do is strengthen our relationship with them. They came down and did a morning of workshops held out at the county training facility or out at the CFA grant windows of open. So it was a good mix. Both sessions were well attended, mixed between private business and municipalities, but everybody got to learn a little bit about the application process, some of the programs look like, and then they'll have a connection point to ESD to help them as they try to prepare their application by the end of next month. That's all I have for this call.
Other questions for Ryan's update? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
Going in between wing and raindrops.